Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a challenge that, let's be honest, almost every modern business is dealing with: total data chaos. You know, if you're building anything today, you're not just dealing with more data, you're dealing with more kinds of data than ever before. So, we're going to break down the really elegant solution that's changing the game, the multimodal database.
So here's our game plan. We'll start by really defining this modern data challenge. Then we'll look at the old, clunky way of trying to solve it and introduce the multimodal solution. We'll get into how it actually works, why your business should care, and finally, what all this means for the future of how we handle data.
Okay, so let's jump right in by getting to the heart of the problem everyone seems to be grappling with. It really all starts with the data itself.
Let me just ask this straight up, because I bet it's a pain point a lot of you will recognize immediately. Does managing all your different data feel like you're constantly trying to duct tape a dozen different systems together that were never ever meant to talk to each other? Yeah, if that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone.
You see, it's not just about the amount of data anymore. It's the wild variety. A single modern app might need flexible JSON documents for its front end, graph relationships to map out a social network, geospatial data for logistics, and time series data from IoT sensors all at the same time. And traditionally, every single one of these needed its own special database, which just creates this impossibly complex web of systems.
So how have we been dealing with all this complexity? Well, the old school approach has been to just, spin up a new database for every new data type. But as you can probably guess, that solution is starting to show some pretty serious cracks.
And this brings us to what I like to call the patchwork problem. When you use a separate database for everything, you end up with these data silos that are a nightmare to query together. You get hammered with massive overhead, think different licenses, vendors training for each one, and your developers, they get stuck in these integration hellscapes instead of building cool new features, which just grinds innovation to a halt.
But what if there was a better way, a much better way? What if you didn't have to stitch all those different systems together? Well, this is where the hero of our story finally makes an entrance: the multimodal database.
Seriously, if there is one thing you take away from this explainer, it's this idea right here. Just think of a multimodal database as the Swiss Army knife for your data. It is one single, unified database engine that's built from the ground up to handle multiple data models. No more patchwork, just one amazing tool for the job.
So how does this magic actually work? I mean, how can one system possibly do the job of a bunch of different specialized databases? Well, the secret is in its super flexible core. Instead of totally separate systems, a multimodal database has one unified storage engine with different query personalities on top. It means all your data lives together in one place, but you can talk to it like it's a document, graph, or key-value database. It's pretty cool.
And this is where the power really becomes obvious. See, different data models are best for specific jobs. The document model? It's perfect for things like content management or product catalogs. The graph model is amazing at finding hidden connections for fraud detection or social networks. Key value is all about speed, lightning-fast lookups for user profiles. And yeah, you can still handle your traditional financial stuff with a relational model. The crucial point is, you get all of this in one database with one query language on one platform.
Okay, so the tech is awesome, we get it, but let's switch gears and talk about why the folks holding the purse string should care. Because this isn't just some tech decision, it's a huge strategic business advantage.
First things first, let's talk money. When you consolidate all those different databases, you absolutely crush your total cost of ownership. I mean, think about it. Fewer vendor licenses to pay for, way less specialized training for your teams, and a much simpler, more secure setup to maintain. We're talking about potential savings of up to 40%. That's huge.
Now let's talk about speed. Because it's not just about saving money, it's about making it faster. When your developers don't have to learn and integrate 5 different database systems, they can build new apps and features, well, about twice as fast. A unified platform just removes all that friction and lets your team focus on innovating, not integrating.
So let's go back to that patchwork problem we talked about. With a multimodal approach, every single one of those pain points gets a direct, powerful solution. Data silos, they become a unified data view. High overhead, that turns into a lower TCO. Those integration nightmares are replaced by a beautifully simplified architecture, and slow innovation becomes accelerated development. It is a complete night and day transformation. So all of this really brings us to the future. Adopting a multimodal database isn't just about swapping out a piece of technology. It's about fundamentally rethinking your entire data strategy for the world we live in today.
You know, this quote just nails it. For years and years, the big debate was always which specialized database is the right one for this job. That whole paradigm is shifting. The new goal is to have one single powerful database that is right for all of your data, no matter what shape it takes.
And that leaves us with one final, really important question to think about. I want you to look at your current systems, at your development speed, at your operational costs. Is it possible that your old patchwork database architecture is the very thing holding your business back from what it could be? It might just be time for a change.